Welcome to Season 2 of the Generational Dental Wealth Show. Season 2 is all about increasing dental financial IQ. We do record these live in studio at Team Studios, so if you want to see the video format of this show, go ahead to Spotify or YouTube. Also, if you want to join the Generational Dental Wealth community, go ahead to teamfinancials.com/educate. Let's hop into it. Hey, what's going on? My name is Kingsley Affetti with the Generational Dental Wealth Podcast.
And my name is Dr. Jermaine Affetti. We have a very special guest today.
Hey, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's an honor. It's an honor.
We're here with my guy, Seyi. Very funny story before we hop into it, how I met him. We were at a Nigerian pretty much celebration for the holidays. My girl name is Seyi, and she was like, hey, man, this is other guy named Seyi. You should go meet him. So I went over there to meet him. And I was like, wow, this guy's pretty cool. He's in the dental field. And I told him, I work with a lot of different dentists. I just wanted to talk with him, man. We just talked for hours, man. And it was definitely a pleasure, man.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah. Like he said, it was crazy. It's actually funny. Like, she's the first female, because Seyi is a unisex name. Yeah. So I met other, like, Seyi that were males, but she was the first female Seyi that I met.
Really?
I was like, wow. Okay, so y'all are out there. So,
where does that name originate from? Can y'all give a little bit of background?
It's Yoruba name, yeah. So it's actually, the full name is Oluwa Seyi, and it means God created this, like gift from God. Everything is always has to do with God when it comes to our names. So
awesome, man. And it was funny. You actually from Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
Born and raised?
I wasn't born and raised.
Okay.
So just a little background. So I was actually born in Nigeria. So
okay.
Yeah. So we came over at around, I was around 7 or 8 at the time, and when we first came over, we moved to Michigan. So we were
Flint?
No, it was Southfield. It was Detroit area, Metro Detroit area. So we were there till I finished high school, and then we moved over down here at around 2010.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've been here ever since. So a lot of people, they're like, oh yeah, what high school did you go to? I'm like, I didn't go to high school here. Sorry, my brother did.
Wow. Okay. Where did he go?
He went to Weddington. And then
Will Shipley.
That's awesome, because I think the Nigerian community in Charlotte is so small, but I'm like, I don't think I've ever run into you, man.
Yeah,
so that's probably why.
Exactly. Yeah. So
awesome, man. So I don't want to steal your spotlight, man, but we talked pre-show. You said that you're in dental school, and you said that you're a D4. So kind of bring us into your world. What dental school are you at, and kind of just give us an introduction on how you kind of got there.
Yeah, so I go to HUCD, Howard University.
HBCU?
Yes, sir. Okay. Go Bisons. I am a Bison. Like he said, I'm on my 4th year.
Okay.
I love it, So it's definitely
a different atmosphere.
I believe it.
Very liberal city. I love it.
Yeah.
You're never bored, but that could also be a curse. So when you're trying to hone in and focus up, but you just got to know yourself and know what you're there for.
Yeah.
And everything like that. But I got to Howard through a mutual friend. So I got my master's in the other HU.
Okay.
Actually,
Hampton.
Yeah.
Okay, two HBCUs. I went to A&T, man. So we got 3.
Okay. Yeah, it was down the street.
Oh yeah.
I used to go G-Ho.
G-Ho.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a good time.
Yeah, good times. So and I get people who are like, oh, who's the real HU? And I don't fit into that.
Yeah. It's all love. It's all love.
I will say Hampton does, as far as I know, has better. I don't know how it is right now. Hampton usually has better sports.
Yeah.
Okay.
Howard.
Howard lost the Celebration Bowl.
They lost?
Yeah. By 2 points or something.
FAMU.
Man.
The FAMU. It was a good game though.
Yeah.
So where'd you go for undergrad?
So I went to school up in Defiance. It's a school in Ohio.
Okay.
I went there. I played ball there.
Okay.
Football?
Yeah, I played football there.
I didn't even know that.
Linebacker DN.
Okay.
So there was a position called Rover, which is kind of like in between.
Yeah.
So you got I think it was 4-3 defense.
Mm-hmm.
So on the line or off. It depends on.
So you went there. Okay. So what'd you do for your degree at that point?
Yeah, I was getting to that. So I graduated with exercise science degree.
Okay.
Actually, so I was interested in exploring that, and I did. you know, my initial goal was to become a physical therapist. So I got into like the health and fitness aspect. I was training, you know, I was doing. I used to work at the Wells Fargo fitness center.
Get out of here.
So it was like they had a fitness center within the headquarters
Gotcha.
of town. So I used to work there. I did group classes. I did personal training, and through there I figured out it was through there that I figured out that this might not be the avenue for me.
That's good.
Yeah.
So I enjoy training. I still do, but to teach it and to actually indulge in that atmosphere, it just wasn't sitting right for me.
Yeah.
I was always tired.
I was tired. Yeah.
I was frustrated, you know. But
Why were you frustrated?
Because I think it had to do with the fact that I would make these programs,
Yeah.
and sometimes, you know, I'll take the time to make these programs, and sometimes people wouldn't follow it, and they would be getting frustrated at me, and I would just it was taking a toll on me, and
Yeah.
I was doing that while I was trying to get into physical therapy school, and unfortunately, when I applied to physical therapy school, I wasn't able to. I wasn't successful in getting in. So I went back to the drawing board, and I'm like, okay, so what do I need to do to get in? Because that's how I am. I don't give up on nothing.
I
So
hear
I'm
you.
like, all right, just a little hiccup. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna do what they tell me to do. But in the midst of doing it, and this is where my parents come into play. They're like, you know, why don't you look at other health, you know. I did this thing in high school where it was like it had like a little technical program that was like part of the school. So like you would pick a program that you're interested in. They had auto, they had health, and one of the programs was dental assistant.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, so I did that, and I actually enjoyed it. So my mom brought that up. She's like, why don't you, you know, explore more of the dental field? And that's when I started shadowing. So I started looking into different dentists in the area, shadowing, you know, practice owners or like, you know, different kinds of dentists basically. And that's when I fell in love with it. I love the lifestyle. I love the autonomy, and it kind of it was very similar into physical therapy, but without a lot of the stressors.
Yeah.
So, and I say that in the sense of you're still in the health field, you know, basically, and you're still a leader, but the physicality of it is, you know, when you take that away, because, you know, it takes a toll on you when you're working out every day with everyone. And,
Sure.
And like I said, I like training for myself, but I found out that I don't like training for other people.
So I mean, with that being said, I heard a few things you just said, and I'm sure we'll get back on the track of the story. I just want you to speak for a second to those people that might be in a career change, because, you know, I'm starting to meet more and more dentists that say, hey, this was not my first option. You know, I kind of found my way. I kind of stumbled my way into this. So, like, speak to that person that is possibly considering switching industries or looking to say, you know, is it too late for me to do this? I've already committed so much time. Like you said, you not only graduated with that degree, but you went into the field for a while.
Yeah.
You know, so kind of speak to that process of you trying to transition. I guess just the mental things that you had to overcome, maybe the stigma, you know, telling people, hey, this is what I do. And then now I have to kind of, you know, redefine what I do. So kind of speak to that kind of point in your life.
So, I want to bring up like a good point that was brought up when we had our conversation. A lot of times people will try to hold you to what you say. And, they're like, oh, but you said you're going to do this. And you're gonna, you know, and as you go through life, things change. Your views change, your experiences change, and you find out more about yourself and where you're fitting in this world. So, and a lot of times people, when you discuss things with people, they try to hold you accountable for different reasons. And that could take a toll on you. So I would say a big thing is to just keep that in mind. If life is so dynamic. Like, things are always changing every day. So just keep an open mind. And once you figure out what you want and how you see what your values are on a daily basis.
Exactly.
Like, I want to work with people. Like, I like this. I want to learn more about science. You know, I want to do this or that, and, you know, then just you could literally find whatever that fits into and just drive. Just pick at it a little bit every day. Just keep working towards it. Just anything you can do. So when you're changing careers, just look into it. Have an open mind, and reach out. Networking is huge. I think networking is really the reason why I'm here right now.
Exactly.
It's the reason why I got into dental school. The reason, it's just it is the meaning of life. I feel like you can't do this thing by yourself.
Can't.
You always find other people that are going through the same thing. Yeah.
That's really good. One thing that really stuck out to me throughout your story was the fact that because one door didn't open, you didn't give up, right? Sometimes we're knocking at doors that are not meant to open for us. And instead of taking that as I failed, maybe it's a point of redirection, right? Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's saying that if I gave this everything I had, and I truly know internally, I gave this everything I had and it did not work out, maybe there's something else in store for me, right?
Exactly.
We have to take these soft redirections and really keep moving with it instead of just being stagnant and saying, this is the plan, right? We're going to move in this direction. So even when we're telling people that, this is the plan, this is where I'm going to go, we still have to be able to give ourselves that freedom. And like I always say, you got to have an open mind, and you have the right to change your mind. You have the right to change your mind.
At the end of the day, you're going to be doing it. Right. Everyone can be like, oh, you can't do it. But they're not going to be there with you on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So, that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
That's a huge
thing. And then I really like the fact that you started to identify the things that you do and that you don't like about the particular job, right? Mm-hmm. And now you can start self-identifying, saying, this are the things I do want to do, and these are the things I don't want to do every day, right? I don't necessarily want to be putting my heart into the work that I'm not sure if the person on the other side of it is going to reciprocate that to get to their optimal level. Or do I want to move into dentistry where I can now get some instant gratification and we can have some type of momentum to build towards a better future for them. So I'm glad, because in dentistry, we get that instant gratification.
Yes.
Come in with cavity, leave with filling, right?
Exactly.
Come in with pain, leave with root canal. Yeah. And from there, now we can use it as a springboard to say, you know what? Okay, now that we've gotten this situation under control, now we can work together to try to get you in for your regular cleanings to make sure this does not occur again. Yeah. So that's really good. I love that.
And that was the point I missed. You just nailed it right there.
Yeah. I love that.
The difference between the two fields.
So awesome. Just picking up with your story, at Howard, did you have any other offers coming out? Did you explore any other schools, anything like that?
I explored other schools, but, and like I said, I kind of knew that I wanted to be in the HBCU.
HBCU, okay, yeah.
HBCU setting coming out of Hampton.
Yeah.
Just because my experience in Hampton was very good. I liked the networking, and just being around other people like me that have similar goals, and that I know that, unfortunately, in this day and age, there's just that barrier, there's just that race barrier.
It's true.
I don't mean to pull the race card or anything, but when you eliminate that, it kind of like opens up the doors to focus on other things. Like, this is life. Like, we're really this is like my brother. We're really trying to traverse through this thing together. Yeah. And we're going through the same problems and issues in life. So that was a huge thing for me, because prior to that, I had never had the HBCU experience. My undergrad was like PWI all the way. So I think that's what. So because of that, that narrows.
You kind of had an idea.
I mean,
gotcha.
This is area,
Yeah.
Okay.
So
those are your two top choices when you were going through it.
Yes, sir.
Harry Howard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I worked with UNC. I did a mentorship program there. Where I was a mentee.
Impressions there?
No. I did that too. Okay. But it was like an actual. I forget what it was called. I forget.
I think I know what you're talking about.
But it was like I was under the wing of one of the students.
We still do that.
Yeah, and it got me to learn a lot about the program and how amazing UNC is. UNC is just it's crazy. You guys got the high rise, and you can just what's going on in there, man.
Still got to study though.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be the prettiest cell, but you still got to study.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
And,
that's good.
Yeah, so I explored ECU as well. Being in state, kind of doing yourself a disservice not to.
Yeah.
But all in all, the HBCU experience and just the networking and togetherness. It kind of that's what I value.
Gotcha.
So
so kind of picking back up in the journey, what would you say, you as a D4 student now, you talking to the D1 version of yourself coming in, what would you say would be the biggest challenge that you faced? And then on the flip side, the biggest thing that you didn't expect and that actually worked out?
Okay, so the biggest thing is dental school will humble you. It doesn't matter where you're coming from, because dentistry, I can say, is the only field that requires like you to level up in all aspects of life.
Gotcha.
You gotta be a leader. You gotta be able to critical think. You gotta be able to solve problems, work with others. You gotta be a psychiatrist.
Very often.
Yeah, you have to level up, and you might come in there being book smart, but that's only a fraction of it.
Yeah.
So for me, the biggest thing was just realizing that, I had to, like, just because I know a lot about the sciences, I got to be able to, incorporate that into a bigger picture. So the biggest thing for me was just adjusting to the inflow of information.
Okay.
Because prior to that, I did my master's. I got my master's, in medical sciences. So I was already exposed. I've been exposed to health sciences basically my whole life. I always knew I wanted to do something in that avenue. Biological science, chemistry, all that stuff. So, but as soon as I got into dental school, the pace was the biggest. Yeah.
Tell us more about that. How was Howard? How was the student life experience? What is it like being in a big city? Again, I went to Chapel Hill, so I don't know what it feels like going to school in a big city. I went to Greenville, East Carolina before then. How was it like being in that city? Are the cost of living, is it really what people say it is? Like, give us the nitty gritty.
Okay, so I'm gonna give it to you straight. So basically, and the biggest thing for me was adjusting to that life, the city life. I'm like, dang, I gotta pay $200 a month just to park here. Like, you know what I mean? I gotta, you're paying rent, and and then you get your financial aid. by the time you pay everything, you got nothing. So you really have to be smart with your money. And also, another thing is you're right in the city. So everything that's going on is right there. So you got to go in there knowing what you're there for.
Yeah.
It's easy to get sidetracked because it's it's a good time. DC is the best city I've lived in.
Okay.
Honestly, in terms of city living and having stuff to do and stuff like that. Okay. So, but the biggest adjustment for me was just knowing how to incorporate that into my lifestyle. Because like I said, prior to that, I never lived in a city of that magnitude.
Yeah.
So I would say that was the biggest thing, like just knowing how to manage the money, and then incorporating the lifestyle into schooling. Especially, honestly, I would say you asked if there's one thing I could change. The one thing I could change going back to D1 year is just trying to eliminate as much external factors as possible.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, when I first got there, I was living in Maryland, and this is just me. I was living in Maryland. I was living in, I think, Hyattsville. But it was like 20-minute drive commute, which is not bad. But when you add the traffic and everything,
exactly,
that adds like another additional 20, 30 minutes to it.
Yeah.
So I would get to school, and I'm already tired. And first and second year, you're mostly didactics. So you're sitting in class, trying to pay attention, and you got this quiz coming up, and
Man, that's honestly probably one of the best pieces of information I got when I was going into school. Like, make sure you take advantage of where you live, right? So, like, when I went to school, I was like, one of my main two priorities was, number one, buy the house. And then number two, make sure it's close enough to school that it's not a hassle, right? So when you're starting to look for a house to buy when you're about to start dental school, obviously your budget is limited, right? Yeah. So now you start to go a little bit further out of your range. Now you got to make a decision like, am I going to stay true to my priorities, or am I going to try to find the best deal? And then I remember when I'm looking in between two different spots, I remember somebody telling me, like, you don't want to live far from school. Make it easy for you. You're going to be going there every day for the next 4 years. Try to make the process as easily as possible. So the spot we ended up landing at was actually on the bus route to Chapel Hill Dental School. Maybe an 8-minute ride on the bus. So I would walk down the stairs, get on the bus. It'll take me to my dental school 8 minutes. And then it got to about D2 year when I started actually bringing my bicycle. Because I was like, I could save even more time if I never have to wait on the bus. I could just ride my bike to and from school. And that was like a light bulb going off. So I understand exactly what you're saying. You want as much time as you can to do the things that you need to do. Time is already limited.
I'm telling you.
Extra 15 minutes of sleep. I know it don't seem like that much.
Yeah.
But when you're running off 2 hours, it's a game changer. Definitely. So I'm glad you really touched on that. And then now I'm trying to figure out a little bit more of what did the years look like, right? So I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about UNC, and you tell me like what it looked like on your side. So for our D1 year was mostly didactics, like most dental school. And by the end of D1 year, we probably started doing some prophies and started seeing like doing some simple intake stuff. By D2 year, we started doing some restorative. And then by the end of D2 year, I think we had to have our points to move forward, like doing enough restorative. And by the end of D2 year, going into D3, we got cleared to start doing some extractions. And then you just move on from there, doing all the rest of the stuff. And then we go on rotations on, I believe it's our 4th year.
Wait, I don't want to interrupt you. You said extractions D2 year?
I believe it's the second half of D2 year. We get cleared to start doing. We got to take an extraction course, and then we're cleared to start doing some extractions. Now, again, it's been a few years now, so if things are a little bit hazy at this point, don't hurt me. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So tell me about your experience. How was it at Howard?
Yeah, so no patient exposure the first year. I'll tell you that. Okay. So the first year at Howard, one thing a lot of people need to know: each school is different. Howard really focuses on the didactics those first 2 years, especially the first year. The first year, what a typical day looks like: you go to school and you take all your courses. You take about I don't remember. I think it was like 8. You know what I mean? Like you just go back to back. You're in between like a couple different classrooms, and you're with the same people, the same students. You know, and then the professors come in and out. But basically, you and then you have exams on a weekly basis. So you do all your didactics, you study for your exam on a weekly basis, and then the labs, you do get a couple labs, but like I said, it's based on the didactics. So you get the cadaver lab for anatomy section. You get histology lab where you go and you look at the slides and. And then also you get dental anatomy lab, I believe, but that's basically just knowing the different parts of the tooth. You do drawings, you work with your models. They give us these little models that we would have to label and stuff like that. So, but it's there's no patient exposure at all. Even the spring semester, it's just a continuation of the didactics. So that's why I say it's very important. That was the biggest thing that I think I could tell myself, is just to eliminate the extra stuff and just focus on those didactics, because once you get that out of the way, man, you know, it just clears everything else out for you. You know, you're not distracted. You're not worried about, you know, especially if you want to specialize, your GPA is good, you know. So, yeah, and then that's basically D1 year in a nutshell. You got to adjust, you got to move, you got to adjust quick, you got to be able to learn stuff quick. You got to know what's going on around you, get on board. But we actually, I don't know if you guys do this in Howard, I mean in UNC, but in Howard, we have like a kind of like a mentorship program. So you have what you call a big and a little, you know, that kind of stuff. So your mentor, your mentee. So you're assigned as a first-year student I want to say second or third year, upperclassman, someone above you, to kind of guide you, you know, through your journey and give you all the resources you need to proceed and succeed.
Who was your big and who was your little?
So I have he's graduated now. I don't know if I'm gonna call him out, but
that's fine. That's
shout out, you know, shout
out to him.
Yeah, no, he held it down. He was good. He looked out for me and made my adjustment a lot simpler, because you know I was going through it, man. Just being in DC and you know just trying to figure everything out. He definitely helped out. He actually sat down with me, studied biochem, you know, with me and you know showed me all the different ways to look at it. And then, also because you talk about anything from like just rent, where to live, like how to, where to avoid, how to go through dental school basically. So he's doing good now. Daniel
Big Little.
Owusu, I'm gonna just shout him out. That's my boy.
Yeah.
Just recently got married.
So he must be Nigerian too.
Ghanaian.
Oh, Ghanaian.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
But people think like the big little system, 'cause we have it at UNC as well. You think it's just about like school stuff. It's really about the little stuff that you don't do in school to make school possible.
Yeah.
So I feel that everything you're saying. Like sometimes you might have to sit down with you, go through a class or two, but it might be simple as where you live and save you an extra 15 minutes. So you're saying first year is mostly didactic.
Yes, sir.
D2. At what point do y'all start seeing patients, and how are patients introduced to y'all?
Yeah, so the second year, I'm gonna go through the second year because second year you're still doing didactics, but then you get introduced to labs. So you're doing a lot of simulations. You're working on your, your dental forms and your, your mannequins and all that. So basically, you do all the departments in the lab. Like you do the pros, you do the endo, all that stuff. You're doing all the labs. So at the end of, I want to say at the end of D2 year, is when you start going in and you have to shadow the clinic. So you're in scrubs then. And here's another thing too. You don't get your scrubs until second year in Howard. Yeah, so first year, a lot of people, this is another thing that surprises a lot of people. So first year, you wear business casual every single day. You're supposed to be professional. You're just a student. Okay. So second year is when you get your scrubs, and everyone, that's when you see all the dentist bays and all the posts and got my scrubs, So
Goodness.
yeah, that's when you start to feel like you're doing the thing. So so like I said, second year you do the lab stuff, and then third year that's when you're supposed to translate the lab stuff into the clinicals. So you do pre-clinicals going into third year. So you get into the clinic and you basically go through each department and you have to fulfill the requirements, preclinical requirements, in order to be cleared to do the actual, to see real patients. So that summer you do preclinicals, and I'm pretty sure, that's also when you do the stab lab. I don't know when y'all did it, but
I think second year.
Yeah, going into clinic, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's when we did it as well, and that's when you see, you know what I'm talking about.
Well said,
yeah. Yeah. So, and that's also when you as a student, you kind of have to. That's for me. I'm gonna speak for me. Maybe a lot of people could relate to this, but this is when I started to switch my brain. Like now you're implementing all you've learned through the didactics and everything, and it's starting to make sense. And you're putting it in real life. You're putting it in real people, real humans, and you have to start thinking as like a problem solver as opposed to just like, what's the answer to this question? Mm-hmm. And Howard was really good. We had a lot of good clinical docs that would really challenge you to think that way. Like if you come with a question, you should already have an idea what the answer is, but you're just basically going for a clarification.
Gotcha.
So that's basically, that was second year. So second year prepares you for the clinics in third year.
Third year is when you start your clinics.
Third year is when you get in there and actually.
And is your white coat in between your second and your third year?
White coat is first year.
First year, got you. Okay.
White coat.
So they let you hold the white coat.
Yeah. So you got your white coat. Yeah.
You got your scrubs yet.
Yeah, you got your white coat. You got your business casual. You know what I mean?
I got you.
But yeah, you don't get the scrubs until the second year. And
okay.
Yeah, that's kind of like your rite of passage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm doc now. So.
Okay. So do y'all ease in the third year? Do y'all ease in like with cleaning and then fillings and then extractions?
Yeah. Yep.
Or you're prepared, or how does it go at that point?
Yeah. So basically, like you said, we ease in. So when you get into your third year, you do your preclinicals the summer, and then you come back, and you're now a D3. We start off with with the perio, we do prophies. You have your certain amount of prophies that you have to get done by the end of your 3rd year. And also, so basically you're doing, the focus in our school, starting off in 3rd year, is basically how to do a comprehensive exam. So you got to know how to put everything together. You got to know how to treatment plan and, work up, see what the patient needs, and develop a treatment plan based on that. So you got to know how to do your probing depths. You got to know how to, diagnostic stuff. Take X-rays and, radiographs. Don't say X-ray.
Yeah. So what's the biggest difference between the D3 year and the D4 year? Do y'all go like on rotations or something like that?
Yeah. Well, we always have rotation. I'm still gonna have rotation.
Okay.
Even when I go back now for spring semester. But you start rotations D3 year. And the good thing about Howard is y'all are the same. Everything is in-house. I think every dental school is like that, right?
If they're associated with other facilities, then like. Now, when you say rotations, are you referring to externships or internal rotations?
Internal rotations.
Usually most schools.
That's what you're asking about, right?
Yes, rotations, and then we'll get on externships after. But yeah.
Right. Yeah.
If you have the different specialties, not all schools have all the different specialties.
Right. We have most of them, other than pros.
Okay.
And yeah, I think pros is the one that we don't. And endo.
Pros and endo.
Yeah.
So Howard has
we don't have
oral
endo
surgery.
school.
You got pedo. I know. So I know you got pedo.
Yeah, we got pedo.
UNC OS. Pedo. Okay, you got oral
perio.
surgery. You got perio. You got ortho. Ortho for sure, right?
Ortho.
Orthodontics.
Yes, we do have ortho.
Okay.
We have ortho, pedo. Do we have perio? We have perio. I'm pretty sure we have perio.
Okay.
And yeah, so the only ones we don't have, I believe, is endo and pros.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when do y'all start externships?
Externships, whenever. So that's on an individual basis. Like externships are not required for graduation.
Okay, let me clarify that. When do y'all start so for us, right? We have like a 4-week period where we go out to a different facility that's assigned by the school for you to start like clinical care, not in the school setting. Do y'all do anything like that?
We do.
Okay.
But you have to be chosen for that.
Got
basically.
you. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a limited seats for that. But in terms of and usually that happens after you're in clinic. So between D3 and D4 year.
Okay.
Mostly D4 year.
I got one last question for you on the school side of things before we wrap it up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I always see these different prices online when it comes to this school or that school, this school or that school. Are the prices really the prices for Howard? Like, is it really up there like that? Or is there like ways students can get it done? You don't got to talk about your personal situation, but from what you've seen on the general standpoint, is it really $100K a year?
Basically, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's 90 and some change, but
for just tuition.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So,
talking to a student from Tufts, hers was 140.
Yeah, it's up there. It gets up there. And DC is a private. Howard is a private school.
Yeah,
and then cost of living too. So, yeah, 100K.
All right. Ken, you got any final questions before we wrap up this segment?
Man, I just like I said, I learned so much just hearing your story, your journey.
Yeah.
Obviously the challenges and what kind of got you to this place, man. Like I said earlier, I think my biggest takeaway from your story was you can be flexible. Life at the end of the day, man, is not always about you having all the answers immediately. Sometimes it's about adjustment. Just like you play football, I play football as well. You watch the film, you make the adjustments, and you go out the next week and you try to implement them, man. So I appreciate you sharing that story, man.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, you just gotta have an open mind and just know life is dynamic. Yeah.
All right, we'll see y'all next week on the Generational Dental Wealth Show. Peace.
Appreciate
See
y'all.
ya.